Chairman BC, we are online and ready to go. If you would like to start the public hearing on the budget.
Okay, I'd like to open the meeting of the transit for our public hearing on our budget committee, our budget FY 2025-26 budget. Okay. Call for public testimony. Anyone like to? Oh, sorry. Carrie, go ahead. Carrie, I didn't see your hand.
That's all right. I would just like to mention some of the issues with the new system you guys are using for booking rides with the dial ride system. And so I know Ryan is aware of it and they're working on it. But one thing is, it doesn't.
Carrie?
Yes.
Right now we're doing the public hearing for the budget.
Oh, okay.
And
All
then
right.
as soon as we get to the item of citizens' comments on agenda items, then you can go ahead and raise your hands.
Again. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Problem. Any citizens' comments in regards to the budget for 2025-2026? Last call, any comments for the budget for 2025-2026? So Melissa, do we close the budget hearing then? Or do we just continue with the board meeting?
No, you are correct. You close the public hearing on the FY 25-26 budget.
Well,
Do I need to get a motion?
Yeah, I was gonna say you would close the public input part and then you
Right.
would open for
Open the
discussion
regular meeting.
amongst the group.
So the agenda item for the budget is down on item.
Yeah, it's lower on the menu.
Okay, well, do how you do. You know.
No problem, legal. I appreciate it. Okay. We'll close the public comment for the budget item and we'll open our regular board meeting. Could we get a roll call for our members, please?
Director VC,
Present.
Director Johnson. I
Tara's
didn't hear you here, Tara.
Present.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Director Nelson,
Present.
Director Clausen,
Present.
Director Thompson,
Present.
Director Dovenspike,
Present.
Mr. Chair, all directors of the board are present.
Excellent. Thank you. We appreciate you coming to our meeting today. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
We do not.
Excellent. Okay, citizens comment and agenda item. Carrie?
Thank you. And I apologize for being out of order earlier.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay, so I know you guys are working on a couple of things with the new system for booking the dial-a-ride rides. So one thing is it does not send out text messages anymore, and so that is very handy because, like, I work on the SWAT campus, and it's a ways for me to get out to where the bus picks me up, and there's always a window when you arrange dial-ride, and I know. sometimes those windows are supposed to be half an hour, and I know sometimes the scheduling thing will put an hour window, and so that text thing, is very valuable. And I know that Ryan has been working on this, but and I don't know what else could be done to help fix that, but it is a very handy feature for those of us using the dial-a-ride system.
Okay, thanks, Carrie. Any other citizens' comments in regards to agenda items?
Oh.
Go ahead, sir.
Agenda items or just
Agenda,
non-agenda items? Okay, I'm for non-agenda.
non-agenda items.
Okay, great. Hello, my name is Ryan Tuss. I sit on several committees for the city and et cetera. Ryan Tuss, citizen at large. I just wanted to share a story, an experience that I had last week. I substitute teach in both North Bend and Coos Bay. Actually North Bend, I get more jobs there. Oftentimes I ride my bicycle. However, these mean streets are hell on my tires. I had 2 bikes with 2 flat tires last week. Fortunately, I was aware of a bus route that leaves the library here in Coos Bay and drops you off at the VA Medical Center. And that leaves about 7:15 in the morning. I got there at 7:10, as every good rider should get early. And when the bus arrived, I was told by the driver that I needed to wait for another bus. I believe the term they use is like preferred route. So instead of taking a one-way bus from Coos Bay to North Bend to my destination, which would take around 15 minutes, I was to wait another 15 to 20 minutes for the next bus, the green line, to show up, then take me to Walmart. Red line to Walmart, and then from Walmart to take the green line to North Bend, which would get me there an hour after I needed to be there. Fortunately, I have a loving girlfriend who has flexible hours. She was able to come and pick me up and get me to my destination just fine. I don't recall how I got home that day, but I found an alternative route. The next day, I ended up walking from the hospital, which is near where my girlfriend works, and then walked to North Bend. That afternoon, I had a 7-period prep, which allowed me to catch an early bus. That's another direct route, goes from North Bend to Coos Bay and then over to Coquille, final destination Myrtle Point. I got there early once again around 2:35, spoke to the driver in the bus that was sitting there, and I was informed, well, my question was, is this the bus to Coos Bay? And they told me no, that I needed to wait and there'd be another bus arriving shortly. Assuming that other bus arriving shortly would be my 2:45 bus, to get me down to Coos Bay. At 2:45, the bus that of the driver that I spoke to left. I waited until the green line showed up, spoke to the driver at the green line and asked if there was like something going on where my bus didn't show up. And he said that they were short-staffed that day, but not short drivers, so it shouldn't have been an issue. He directed me to a phone number to call, which I did call the day before, and I did get a response back from Ryan, who at the time again told me, I think it's preferred route is the term that they use. I could be corrected on that, but he told me, he's like, oh, I see what you're doing. Well, the preferred route from North Bend to Coos Bay is to take the green line to Walmart and then the red line to Coos Bay. It takes a lot longer to do that than to just hop on the bus. And, I at that point, I got upset because by that point, the green line had left. And my only other options to get home via bus that day was to wait for the next green line to show up and give me a lift. Fortunately, in addition to riding my bicycle, I also walk a lot, so I was able to get home relatively quickly in under an hour, much shorter than waiting for the next bus. But during that walk home, well, during my conversation with Ryan on the phone, he told me that I had missed my ride. I explained how did that happen because I was here at 2:35 and the bus was supposed to leave at 2:45. He checked on things. He said, no, our GPS certainly shows the bus was there at 2:45 and you missed it. So the only thing I can deduce from this is that the driver didn't understand, for one reason or another, that I could ride the bus in North Bend and then get off at Coos Bay, which was their next stop on the way to Myrtle Point. I found this experience extremely frustrating, especially because I lived in Portland for 10 years and I almost exclusively, road transit, and I understand the flexibility that you need to have to ride transit and to, have that kind of lifestyle. But it also made me kind of sad because I ride my bicycle and I walk because of a choice that I have made, but there are a lot of people in our community who don't have this choice. And so, I mean, it's important for me to get to work and it's important for me to get to work on time. And if that is delayed by no fault of my own, I feel like there's some failings going on. I could also, as a kind of a side story too, there was another individual at the bus stop in North Bend the other day, also waiting for a ride to Bandon. That bus did arrive, but the way the bus stop is set up, you have, as you probably know, you have the benches over here to the, would that be the north side, and the buses come in and you load at a different angle. Anyway, this was her first time also riding the bus. I should also know, college-educated woman, veterinarian, works in the Langlois area. When she realized that that might be her bus, the bus pulled out and she grabbed her bag, started standing up, and then as she was standing there and I was sitting there, the bus driver looked at both buses and just continued driving. A few minutes later, she did call the CCAT office, and they were able to, from my understanding, bring the bus back and pick her up and get her to her destination. But I feel like the lack of foresight that the drivers, all the drivers had, where they couldn't think outside the box and realize that, even though this is an express route to Florence, it does make a stop in North Bend, and I could ride that bus. And then just the opposite, if it's an express bus to Myrtle Point, it does make a stop in Coos Bay. And I don't understand why I couldn't just pay the $1.50 and get off in Coos Bay. Especially because prior to getting on the bus, I did my due diligence and I checked on my map app on my iPhone. And I also went to the website, CCAT website, and both apps directed me to take these express routes to get home. So there seems to be kind of a miscommunication going on there between the drivers and the routes. So yeah.
That's excellent information. Melissa, can you look to see about that?
Yeah,
Whether the
I've
drivers-
actually already talked to the driver on the day that it happened, and I will follow up with the other drivers. The Bandon connection, that would have been Curry Public, and I can bring the issue to Curry Public.
Melissa,
Yeah,
if he wouldn't mind calling the office and hitting my extension for extension 3, I'd like to follow up and see if there was additional ways to do some training with some drivers.
yes.
So normally when we have public comment, we don't comment, we just listen. but to me, this needs to be addressed. That's why we passed it to Melissa so they can, because I can't even fathom them not dropping you off when they're going through the dang town.
Right, well,
It's-
and a designated stop.
Yeah, yeah.
Not just going.
I can't even imagine you were better than me. I'd have been a bad guy. I'd have been frustrated. Thank you for bringing that to your attention. Go ahead, sir.
He wasn't that excited, but I did talk to him. I worked right the tree line, and I did talk to this gentleman. He was frustrated and getting back over there and getting to Ben this back. But our hands are kind of tied as far as the green line goes, getting over there. And the only thing that we really have available is the express lines, like Florence and Timberline, and those two buses.
Thank you. Any more public comment on non-agenda items? Okay, thank you. Appreciate your information. We have a consent agenda presented. Can we get a motion from the floor?
I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Thanks, Tara.
Second.
Thanks, Harper. Okay, it's been moved in second. Have any of these items you want to talk about? Minutes, financials, ridership, rural veterans health transport. Any of those you want to talk about before we vote on them? Okay, all those in favor of the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Got her. Thank you. Melissa, do you want to handle the appoint the new member to the advisory committee?
Yes, thank you. We have two appointments for the advisory committee. We have Richard Rogers representing Coos County Area Transportation District, as there is a seat for public transportation service providers. And then we have Cynthia Ramirez, who works, good morning, who works for DHS and will be exchanging seats with Mike Merchant, who will be retiring. So Cynthia would be representing local government, social equity and advocacy, and service provider to seniors, people with disabilities, and low-income individuals.
Mike Marchand is retiring?
I know.
Yeah, he's been doing this for like 40 years. What's he thinking? Could I get a motion on the floor to appoint Richard Rogers first, and then we'll do Cynthia second?
So moved.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. Any question or comment? All those in favor of Cynthia, correction, Richard Rogers to the Transportation Board, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain. Thank you, Richard, for your future service. Can I get a motion for Cynthia Ramirez?
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you. Call it a tie. We got a move in a second. Question or comment about Cynthia?
I've worked with Cynthia before. I'm super excited to have her join.
Excellent. All those in favor of Cynthia Ramirez for board, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Abstain. Welcome, Richard and Cynthia. Appreciate your service. Okay, roll call confirmation advisory committee. Go ahead, Melissa.
Lauren Morris. Michael Babcock,
Present.
Lindsay Ward. Michelle McIntyre. Cynthia Ramirez.
Okay.
And Richard Rogers.
That's a quorum. 6, we have 6.
Yep, we have 6 and we have 3 present.
Good deal. Okay, presentation of monitoring report, Boardman ODOT. Go ahead.
Good morning, Chair and committee. I am happy to do a quick report on your compliance review that happened in March. I just want to commend your staff on their diligence at getting the information uploaded to the site in a timely fashion and complete. There were 8 compliance findings, which is not unusual. And it seems like every time you do something, you end up with another finding because they change things. So there were 8 compliance findings and 8 advisories, and the advisories are just best practice. Agencies can choose if they would like to modify those, or they can keep it the way that it currently is. Your staff, which I have never had in the 8 years that I've been doing it, completed the compliance findings before the final report came out. So essentially, our compliance individual, David Campbell, sent out the final report and said, based on the information that came in, the compliance findings are closed. So you have currently no outstanding compliance findings, and Melissa made modifications as needed. She went out of her way to find some best practices from other agencies. And I shared those with some of my coworkers as well, because I think that they are good documents. And so just want to commend your staff and your board on good choices that they make in the findings. If you have any questions specific to the findings, I don't have anything that there was no finding that was so egregious that it would be something that would shut down the agency. They were just mainly small things that have tweaked since the last compliance finding. So yeah, just want to give Melissa and her staff a great big hand for getting all the work done and for running their agency in a way that is efficient and effective, and contains many best practices that I share out with other transit agencies.
Thank you, Jennifer. That is greatly appreciated.
I think
Melissa-
Very
Tara's,
exciting. Melissa,
Melissa makes us look good. And solve
she
problems.
really does.
go ahead, Tara.
You're muted.
You're muted. High
Sorry.
five, you too.
Apparently, I can't raise my hand and talk at the same time. How often do we have these reviews?
So typically they are every 3 years, which is what the typical is. If you are an agency that is considered high risk, then we can do them more often. When right before the district was formed, we did end up having like a mid-cycle financial compliance review that was kind of stuck in there because of some of the things that were going on with the county and just things that needed to be corrected. And luckily Melissa was not in charge at that time. Well, I guess she was, but anyway, she had just taken over, and so she was able to get a bunch of stuff taken care of during that time. And so every 3 years is the typical, but can happen more often. And we do 2 different ones. We do a drug and alcohol, which you all did not have your drug and alcohol this year, I don't believe. I'm trying to remember. But this is the standard compliance, which covers ADA, Title VI, financial management, operations management, fleet maintenance. So it covers a wide range of topics, just as far as all sorts of operational requirements.
That's excellent. Jane, Jennifer, I need you to give me a call when you get a chance later on. I need to talk about something.
Sure. If you shoot me an email or have Melissa shoot me your phone number.
That'd be great. I've learned not to say it out loud on these things because I'm too Canadian. We say everything.
Yeah. You're friendly, but not that friendly, right?
Yeah, appreciate it. Any questions or comments from the board about this excellent report? Well, thank you. We really appreciate it, Jennifer, and great job, Melissa and crew.
Yeah.
Excellent work. Nice job. Old business. Jane, do you start this? Since you had the meeting,
Mm.
or do you want Melissa to start it? Or do you want Shira to start it? Because we were on the committee, so
I
who
don't
do
really
you
have a
want to start
preference,
it?
but let me go back and look at my agenda to make sure I know what you're talking about, and then I'll answer you.
It's when we had the meeting in your office. We had to select the two people, two groups.
Oh yeah, that feels like a long time ago, doesn't it?
No,
It does to me. Sorry.
I was around the world once, but
All right, so we did, in fact, get together in the office to discuss the general manager's selection. We had two options. They both met the requirements, so they were both responsive. But the committee definitely had its own had its recommendation and had good reasons. Committee, would you like to share those things?
well, first of all, Shira, I'll let you go first, and then I'll go second.
Yes, there was great reporting. I would, as far as I was concerned, what they submitted was very thorough job of it. And so we considered it, gave it very good due diligence. I think, we had a few thoughts about liking to have it more local. I think that was fair enough to say, so we could actually be able to talk with people pretty easily on a local basis. So that was a point. And also there was already a track record, which helped, that we knew about.
So basically, we had to choose between an accounting firm in Meridian, Idaho,
Mhm.
and a place in Coos Bay, and which one we thought would do a better job with the accounting.
Mhm.
And the Coos Bay one was cheaper. The Coos Bay one was local.
Mhm.
So it made it, when you compare apples and apples, it was easier to pick the local one because they were local, plus they were cheaper, plus if we want to talk to them. If you've ever been to Meridian, Idaho, I know you could drive to Meridian or call them, it's a long ways away. But Coos Bay is not very far from where I'm sitting right here. So that is why the committee of Jane, Shara, and myself selected the South Coast Business for the accounting services. Yeah, that's why. It was the hardest thing about that was to find Jane's office. It wasn't to decide between the two things, but she lives over in the Bristol Center there, and I didn't know it was in the Bristol Center, and I'm looking for this address and I couldn't barely find it.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so it's okay. That's why you got to be perspective. So we need a motion to select South Coast Business for accounting human resource services. Could I get a motion from the floor?
I make that motion.
Thank you, Shara. Second, Mike, thank you. Any questions or comments before we vote on it? Questions or comments? Any hands out there? Nope. All those in favor of selecting South Coast Business for accounting human resource services, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain?
Abstain.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Move on. New business, adopting a budget. Okay, we've got our resolution, we've got our budget, we've had our meetings. We've had a lot of talk about it. Can I get a motion on the floor before we can do any more talk?
I'll move to approve resolution 2025-4 to adopt and appropriate the FY 2025-2026 budget.
Thank you. In a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments in regards to our budget?
Thank you, Melissa.
Yes, a lot of work.
Excellent.
Really, thank you.
We had meetings, we've talked about it. We think it's a good idea. All those in favor of the budget say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? There we go. We have a new budget approved for next year. Thank you everyone for their involvement. General manager report. Migration from Echo Lane to Passio. Sounds like a bird. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, our Ecolane contract, was up on April 30th was the last day. We have been running concurrent Ecolane and Passio, for a couple months, working through bugs and glitches. But as you know, when you turn one off and you're solely depending on the new product, you realize what items are still glitches that weren't resolved. So we continue to work through texting, for example. We learned on Friday that, hey, guess what? You need to have an email address in the field for a text to work on a cell phone. They are changing that configuration. And I know that Ryan has been working on dropping emails, even if it was a fake email, into people's profiles so that texting can take place, to make sure that folks are getting notified when a driver arrives. As you know, it is true with any type of software system that whenever you migrate from one product to another, you can try and make it go as smoothly as possible, which we are attempting to do, and we continue to train staff, and we just ask for everyone's patience as we work through the bugs. Are there any questions on the migration from Ecolane to Passio?
You're comfortable that it's a wise move, despite the quirks?
Despite the quirks, yes. We'll get there. It was the right move.
Good. Questions or comments, people, about that?
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And speaking of migration, we also migrated our website. So, you know, we didn't want to be bored and do one migration. We wanted to do two at a time. This also went live on May 1st. And if you click on CCAT Navigator, you know, and this is why we went to all the hard work. And that was so that we can see in real live time where our bus is and is moving. And also it will give visuals as to where our stops are. And this transparency is what we have been making all of these decisions about, you know, the CAD ADA, the scheduling platform, plus a new web hosting service together provides this transparency so that, you know, the general public can learn and gain easier access to our services. As I said, we will continue to work with staff on the training aspect, but this takes us a long ways with being transparent with our services to the public. I would also point out under buy tickets, it shows the apps that we have made available to buy tickets, to then monitor where our buses are, provide the fare information. And also if someone wanted to request an accommodation because they don't have a smartphone, for example, they can request those accommodations here. And you can send a pass. So if you have a friend who needs a pass, you can just push that button and purchase a pass for them right online. I'll also take this opportunity, if you click up here on news and events, yesterday I worked on the survey so folks can give us input on the transit center and mobility hub. And so if folks come here, they can participate in this survey that's going to be open between now and May 20th. They can win a prize of a $200 grocery store gift card or 1 year free of CCAT rides. There's also some secondary prizes of 2 Samsung Galaxy Tab A7 lights, so a couple tablets. But this survey will give us a lot of information on the amenities that the citizens of the Bay Area would like to see at a transit center mobility hub. So please encourage folks to participate in this survey. And I know we will be, Ryan's working on a flyer for the buses, as well as printing a few of these in hard copy, as I recognize not everyone can complete such a survey through electronic means. You can see if you put your cursor over our menu that we have moving waves under our menu items, which is kind of cool, just as a neat aesthetic look. But I encourage everyone to take a look at the new website. You can also select language, so it can accommodate individuals who speak Spanish, for example. And we look forward to your feedback. Again, new product, so we are anticipating feedback. That's how new products roll. So questions about the website or the survey?
Melissa, this is Michael. Can I make a comment?
Yes, you may.
So I want to give Melissa and the team kudos for and Melissa didn't know this, so she didn't just say yes because I was giving kudos. But often as a blind user using access technology, websites look at images as a way to decorate their website or provide visual information so someone not using access technology can quickly glance at the information and get it without having to read. From what I have observed, most, if not all, images have appropriate alt text, which means that I'm aware that there is a older gentleman on that image on the homepage because the time was taken to provide that information. So I really value that and am very appreciative of this new site. I'm sure some quirks will come up and we'll definitely communicate those with Melissa as they are found, and I imagine she'll work to get those resolved, but this is a great start. I'm really excited for this. I do have one quick question for you, Melissa. You said click on the news tab, and then that should show you the survey, but I'm not seeing the survey. The only thing I'm seeing on there is the bus sale, and there's a couple other news articles, but I'm not seeing the survey, so I can work with you to figure out why that's not showing up for me.
Okay, we'll work on that. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate your interest.
Let's see. Next thing on the general manager's report is there will be a joint committee on transportation hearing on STIF. We anticipate that this hearing will be on May 20th or 27th. Transportation districts across Oregon all handle opportunities of hearings in Salem differently. For example, TriMet actively sends out messages on opportunities for writers to testify, whereas Rogue Valley, on the other hand, takes a more restrictive interpretation of lobbying, and so they don't do that. So far, the board has never taken a position on opportunities such as these. And so, Jane, I'm going to ask you to help the board navigate this discussion.
Okay. Can you go ahead and give me that lead in again? Because I did not even catch what we're doing right now. I'm so sorry.
It's the STIF funding, Jane.
This is the hearing in Salem that is
yes,
coming
yes, we
up.
did talk about that. Yes, yes, yes.
Yep.
So essentially, it's going to be Melissa contacted me about providing information about how, like, to help our riders and the people who use the transit to go and talk to the guys at Salem, because apparently it makes a much bigger impact if you have actual people in the room to talk to the legislature. And we wanted to make sure that we wanted to go for education, not like active political promotion in one direction or the other. Was her concern, and I said probably we should bring that to the board. It's not really a manager decision, that's more of a board call. And so you guys hopefully got that a few days ago to review. I will say that I don't think that encouraging participation in the process without pushing super hard in one direction or the other constitutes anything other than education. And an agency providing information about the best way for them to get funding is, I mean, what else are you supposed to do? So it seems like it should be fine to me. That's your lawyer opinion. But you know, let's talk about it.
So you telling me that you're interested in people to go to Salem to testify?
There is information that Melissa has provided to you guys that basically breaks down, this is how you do it. This is why we encourage you to do it. If you wanted to be helpful, this is a script you could use, that kind of a thing. And we were talking about putting it in the packet, or should we talk to the board first before we release this? Because we don't want to put too much pressure on anybody one way or the other. So I figured it would be better for you guys to look it over and make a motion of whether or not we should release it and how. Maybe on the website. I don't know.
Go ahead, Harper. You had a comment?
I was just gonna say, I talked to Melissa about this a couple of days ago. I'm definitely in support of doing some sort of education for it. I definitely think I'll be there, whether it's on the 20th or the 27th, to give a speech or something based off of it. I would support it.
My understanding is that there's other ways if you can't make it to the lobbying, which is going to be challenging for some, that there's other ways. It may not be quite as effective as going there, but at least if we let our ridership know other ways that they give input. But I am curious, I'm not sure I quite understand why the board has not taken a direction on this in the past.
If I can speak to that a little bit, I think it's because we haven't had the need or driving opportunity to share the information. Like, this is kind of a newer opportunity, and all of the STIF funding is fairly new as well. So I think it's just an oversight, and that we, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, we didn't exist. And so we've added and grown and developed as we needed to. And this is the next step in making sure that we have a policy in place on how we communicate these opportunities to our ridership and our community. And I think that, again, education is important. If people don't know that a vote is coming up with our senators and representatives, and they don't know what they can do, I think that we would be missing an opportunity to encourage them to engage in the process of connecting with their legislators if we didn't give them information on how to do that.
I agree with Tara 100%. It doesn't hurt to educate our riders about how we get funding, because to be honest, I would say most of our riders have actually no idea how our buses get our funding, because in general, they just get on the bus. They don't know that we have to apply for funds and hopefully get a portion of the funds available so we can do our busing.
Then a ridership doesn't pay for the.
Yeah, they don't understand that $1 doesn't cover the cost of driving the bus.
Right.
So it's very important to educate people. And it's 100% important that we do this.
I'll say too, I mean, I guess this is the first time that it's coming really to the full board, but I mean, in August, me and David did something very similar. I mean, when the joint committee was doing their road tour and they were in Coos Bay, we both went and we both gave speeches. I know it wasn't like the board, I don't think any board members did it, but I was still a member of the advisory and the budget committee at that time.
I was there. Yeah, there we go. Well, there's a lot.
So I mean, we've done this sort of thing before. I mean,
as a board.
Yeah, and so I mean,
The next step, I think, is letting riders know how to communicate that, and making sure that I think it's a long-term goal should be for us to make sure that people understand that their $1.50 does not cover all of the expense of their bus ride. And that's a long-term education piece, not a today education piece. But I do think that it's very important that we provide the opportunity for people to educate themselves and then educate the legislature. And yes, Jennifer has a valid point also that we don't have local funding coming in. Like, we don't have a local tax that is added in any way to help offset our operational costs.
Shira, go ahead.
And maybe we could let them know too that they could actually take one of our buses up to Salem there if they have trouble with transportation, right? We could be able to make connections, or I mean, I wish we could load up a whole bus of load of people from here and just make a dedicated bus. But we do have ways of getting there too. So maybe a little.
I think the flyer idea is an excellent idea.
Yeah.
That we should distribute to our people, because they need to know where the funding comes from and understand that we do what we can, and we have to apply for the funding so we can have the bus running.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we all agree with that. If you could pursue the flyer and generate it on the website, or pass it out on the bus on that given day before in advance, so they know what's going on with our transit system.
And I think we should find a way that if people do want to go there and testify, that we should help enable that to happen. With what's happened nationally, the funding, these are things to get in front of instead of, oh my God, look what happened to us, after the fact.
Yeah, there's a lot of priorities for this funding to go anywhere, but to us necessarily,
Michael, go ahead, Michael.
So, playing advocate here, I think that a flyer is great, but I don't know what relationships are like with audio means, such as radio stations and other places, to do a quick PSA, because unfortunately a flyer isn't going to do someone who's completely blind any good, even if it's put on the website and they may not have access. So I just want to throw that idea out to people so we can make more people aware, especially those who are impacted by the services that the bus provides, because a blind person can't just jump in a car, so they may be a little bit, I don't want to say more aware, but they have an interest in how these funding impacts them.
There,
Thank you, Michael. Go ahead, Jane.
this is me as a community member, not me as a lawyer, but there are some people over at the Dolphin that regularly do radio spots for a lot of their stuff, and they're also pretty community oriented. It might be worth reaching out to them to see if they do a spot for us, maybe even donate it, you know.
Those are all excellent ideas. Any more comments?
I think that's
Yeah.
Michael, your hand is still up. Do you have another comment or you just forgot to lower your hand?
We're good.
Good deal. Melissa, did that help at all?
Yep, I know how to move forward. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Just a couple more updates. We have scheduled best ride with securement driver training on Saturday, June 21st. That will cover communications and customer service and conflict resolution and understanding the needs of our riders. A person first perspective and assisting individuals with mobility differences in a variety of scenarios, Americans with Disability Act, and hands-on wheelchair securement practice. And then lastly, just a reminder, May 20th, the special district election will be coming to a close. And
I
that's
have a
all I
question in
have.
regards to that,
Yeah.
Melissa. So can you tell us the people, is Shira replacing Shira? Is that how it worked? Can you tell me who they
position-
were?
Oh, so
Is that-
position one, Harper
Was me.
is running, and that is currently held by Shira.
Okay.
Position two, which is currently held by Harper, we have
Aren't I 3?
You were 3, but we switched.
Well,
Okay,
I'm still 3.
You're 3 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. I just
okay,
wanna
so
know who
Shelley
those
must
are.
be position two then, Shelley Mason Long.
Okay,
That's
that's all I wanted to know.
And then we have Phil Taylor and Simon Alonso running for position two, and then position three, we have Shira running for position three.
Okay,
Okay.
I just wanted to see who was gonna be leaving or not leaving or maybe leaving. Okay, thank you. Any other questions in regards to the election for anybody?
Just vote.
Just vote. It's a privilege to vote. I've been voting in the US since 91, since I became an American citizen, and you guys don't realize how lucky you are, because some people in the world don't get to do it, so do it. Okay, number 12, citizens' comments on non-agenda items. Any more comments? Excellent. Flip it over to number 13. We have a meeting on June 9th at 9 a.m. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the meeting. I appreciate your business and service and volunteerism. I call this meeting adjourned. Win a game, Mariners. Let's go.